Bouncing trucks and hauling freight. Hey! 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 Red and green and brown and blue, they're the really useful crew. Down the hills and round the bends, Thomas and his friends.
Once upon a time, on a faraway island, there lived 3 engines. There was a small tank engine named Thomas, who ran his own branch line, a bright red engine named James, and Edward, the oldest engine on the line. Together, the 3 engines work hard to keep Sir Topham Hatt's railway running smoothly. But one of their favorite things to do is play tricks on each other. And that's kind of what this story is about. It's not fair! It's just not fair! What's not fair? It's not fair that Edward gets to pull the express while Gordon's away. That job should be for a splendid engine. And that someone is you? Of course it is! Look at my red paint! That should be obvious to everyone. I'm the best engine for the job. Relax, James. It's only while Gordon's away. Exactly! This is my chance to prove how useful I am. James, you should be thankful Sir Topham Hatt didn't send you away after your accident. But Edward had made a plan. It's all right, Thomas. I think he's right. James, if you really want to, I'll let you pull my passenger train tomorrow. But Edward, really Edward? You'll give me a chance after all? Of course I will, James. It'll be waiting right here for you in the morning. James was so excited he thought his boiler would burst. I can't wait! The next morning, James puffed into the yard to collect his coaches. Edward was already waiting there. Now, James, the trickiest part to passenger trains are the passengers. Don't let them make you angry. They can be very particular. I know all about passengers, Edward. Goodbye. And James set off. Edward chuckled. These aren't just any passengers, James. James puffed cheerfully into the station. But his happiness didn't last long. The passengers instantly started grumbling. You've stopped too short of the platform, they screamed. Aw, come on, just get on board already. We have a timetable to keep. The passengers grumbled as they boarded the train. With an indignant toot-toot of his whistle, James started their journey. James was having a terrible day. He could hear the passengers grumbling even from outside the coaches. We want Edward, they shouted. This made James cross. What kind of train ride is this? The people are supposed to be happy. No matter what James did, the passengers would not stop complaining. They grumbled all the way across the island and all the way back. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You got to be kidding me right now. You got to be kidding me. Limited passengers to 3.4 ounces. Are you kidding me? All right, I'm taking you back already. Just shut up. This is the worst job ever! Finally, they reached the last station. Unfortunately, to top it all off, James stopped short of the platform again. The passengers couldn't have been more cross.
Come on.
They shouted angrily, but James didn't care. You gotta be kidding me. I just want to go home! Hello, James. How was your passenger train today? I don't want to talk about it. You look worn out, James. Are you all right? You can have this train, Edward. These passengers are the worst ever. I agree, James. I wish I could help you, but Sir Topham Hatt has sent me to another yard to work now, so it looks like you'll have to manage alone. What? Don't worry, James. Gordon will be back soon. Goodbye. Well, well, well. What do you know about that, James? I couldn't be happier, Thomas. Couldn't be happier. Thomas was enjoying life on his branch line with his coaches, Annie and Clarabelle. Thomas used to shunt for the big engines, but Sir Topham Hatt gave him his own branch and train as a reward for helping James after an accident. His branch line connects with the main line at Elsbridge, where he exchanges passengers and parcels with the big engines. Sorry I'm a tad late, James. We were delayed at the last station. Ah, well, don't mind me, Thomas. I just love being your guaranteed connection. Although I guess there are slower engines. Puff off, James. I'm doing the best I can, but my boiler won't make enough steam. Poor Henry. Never mind him. Big engines always have something to complain about. Goodbye, James. Thomas puffed away before James could answer. Well, he's not entirely wrong. Beep, beep. Hello, Birdie. Ready for another race yet? I don't think we'll be able to have one for some time, Thomas. What on earth do you mean? And why are you taking all my passengers? You said you were going to help me, Birdie, not replace me. Oh, I'm not replacing you, Thomas. Sir Topham Hatt asked me to take them today. I don't know why. Thomas was outraged. Life had been wonderful until all these bus stops began popping up around his branch. Take care, Thomas. You think I'm gonna just sit here and let you steal my passengers away? Not a chance, Birdie. This means war. The station master sent Thomas back to the yard with some quarry trucks. Thomas was very indignant. Thomas, what's the rush? Do you want to keep our passengers or not, Annie? I have to find out why Birdie is taking over our branch line. I'm sure there's an explanation for this, Thomas. The yard master was waiting for Thomas when he arrived. Thomas, I'm glad you're here. Need you to shunt in the yard for a little while. Sir Topham Hatt sent Edward to work in Vicarstown and there aren't any other engines. But sir, I have a branch line to take care of. Bertie will take care of your passengers while you're gone. Don't worry, Thomas. I promise it's only temporary. Temporary isn't good enough. Thomas hated shunting for the big engines. They always whistled and wheeshed impatiently. Hurry up, Thomas! The express can't wait! It can for you! As Thomas shunted James's coaches to the platform, he saw Bertie collecting more passengers. This made Thomas jealous. Look, everyone! Wouldn't you rather ride in James's nice, comfortable passenger train instead of being bounced around in a bus? One of the passengers laughed. I haven't taken the express since Gordon left. This engine knows nothing about pulling passengers. Well, there was that one time. Don't bother, James. Thomas felt very low. He puffed sadly into the sheds later that evening. Good news, Thomas. Edward will be back in the yard tomorrow. You'll be able to return to your branch line. Really? How wonderful. That wasn't so bad after all. The next day, Thomas met Bertie at Farquhar. Good morning, Thomas. Glad to see you again. Here are your passengers back. Why, thank you, Bertie. But this isn't over yet. Thomas was determined to outdo Bertie once and for all. No one would ever take his passengers again. Thomas bucketed down the line to his next stop. "What's the rush, Thomas? Slow down," called his driver. "Must be Bertie, must be Bertie." Annie and Clarabelle were quite unhappy. "What's gotten into you, Thomas? Slow down." "I'm going to beat Bertie's timetable. Then everyone will take the train instead of him." "But Bertie only meant to help Thomas." But Thomas was past listening. He puffed faster and faster. Some track repair was being done up ahead, and Thomas was going too fast. "Oh no, what do I do?" Luckily, no one was hurt. But the passengers were quite cross, and Thomas felt very bad. "Bother you, silly little tank engine. We won't even keep our timetable today." As it turned out, Bertie had to collect Thomas's passengers again. "Thomas, is everything all right?" "Oh, Bertie, I'm so sorry. I was trying to prove that I was more reliable than a bus, but I'm not. I was just afraid of losing my passengers." "But I would never try to take your passengers, Thomas. I'm just here to help when you need me. You're my friend, so I want to take good care of your passengers, but they are and always will be yours. Well, can't be late. Must dash." Later, when Thomas was repaired, he went to visit Bertie. "Thank you for helping me, Bertie. You're a true friend." "So are you, Thomas, although you can be a bit stuffed up in the boiler now and then. I think we'll have to settle that with a race. I wouldn't have it any other way." "Oh, Henry, where is he? By the steamworks, he's never on time, even with that new shape of his." "I'll take it as a compliment that you've shut up long enough about your branch line to even notice. 5 minutes is better than 20. "I suppose when it comes to being late. And what seems to be ailing you today, poor Henry?" "A moderate case of boiler ache. It comes and goes with the new underframes. Have you ever had boiler ache, Thomas?" I don't think so. I doubt I would feel it if I did." "That we can agree on." "Oh no, oh no! Help me! Stop pushing me, you miserable trucks!" "On!
Push him off the rails."
"How's the new one getting along?" "He's had worse days. I don't think the main line is his thing." "Obviously not. These aren't my coaches, are they?" "You would know, I hope." "Oh, for hat's sake. I must not have been paying attention earlier. I'll never hear the end of it now. Take care, Henry. I'll keep on lookout for that new green engine." "You do that." Ow. Blasted trucks. When I get back on my wheels, I'll biff you all straight into the sea. Are you Percy? Yes. Have you come to help me? No, of course not. I'm busy running my branch line. I see you have a lot to learn about handling trucks around here. No time to chat. I must be going. What? Who even are you? I'm Thomas, the tank engine. Nice to meet you, Percy. I'm sure the Fat Controller will send help. Eventually. Psst. Hey. Psst. Thomas. 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 What is it, Percy? Thomas, I can't sleep. Why do you think I care? There's no mail train tonight, Thomas. I can't sleep. Can you please tell me a story? No, now go to sleep. Please? All right. Once upon a time, there was a little short man named Mr. Conductor. He had special gold dust, and he used it to travel all over the island. Until one day, he disappeared. Why did he disappear? How should I know? Anyway, the legend says he used to run a railway on the island that was magic. Magic? Yes, but no one's ever found it. The end? That wasn't a very happy ending, Thomas. It wasn't an end at all. Yeah, well, that's the end of the story. Now, good night, Percy. Good night, Thomas. Finally. Psst. Thomas. Thomas. What is it, Percy? It's not him. It's me, Thomas. I can't sleep. Oh, bother. It was a splendid day on the island of Sodor. Thomas was taking Annie and Clarabelle back to the yard. Well, that's it for now. Enjoy your rest, Annie and Clarabelle. I have to go pick up some trucks.
Thank you for not leaving us stranded this time, Thomas.
Well, that's not a reference to anything. On his way to pick up trucks, Thomas stopped at Knapford Station. A new engine was there who had never seen before. Hello, I'm Thomas. Who are you?
Hello, my name is Emily. It's nice to finally meet you, Thomas. I've heard a lot about you.
Oh, thanks. Thomas was trying not to blush. Ah, Thomas, I see you've met Emily, the new engine. She is here to help with the extra passenger trains I've had to put on. I got her cheap, Thomas. Dirt cheap. Now, Emily, please collect your coaches. You and your driver must learn the line.
Yes, sir.
Thomas was very impressed. When Emily arrived at the yard, only Annie and Clarabelle were available. These aren't your sort of coaches, muttered her driver, but I suppose they'll do. Annie and Clarabelle felt insulted.
How dare he say will do.
Emily chuffed carefully down the line. Annie and Clarabelle were still complaining. Then Emily passed Thomas.
Hello, Thomas.
She whistled happily. Wait a minute, she has my coaches. Emily has Annie and Clarabelle. Thomas was so upset, he didn't even answer Emily. Emily was worried, but she carried on. For the rest of the day, when Emily passed other engines, she whistled. And they whistled back. She was having a wonderful day, but she was still worried about Thomas. Later, Sir Topham Hatt came to see Thomas. Thomas, I need you to go to the docks to pick up some new coaches. New coaches? But sir, I'm sorry, Thomas, I don't have time. I'm very busy. Thomas didn't want new coaches. He wanted Annie and Clarabelle back. Toby was at the yard when Emily returned. Well, you must be awfully special. Thomas doesn't let anyone use Annie and Clarabelle.
Wait, these are Thomas's coaches?
Why, yes. He takes them just about everywhere. Now Emily understood.
Oh dear, that must be why he was upset earlier. I'll have to apologize when I see him again.
Sounds good to me. Well, I'll see you later, new engine.
It's Emily.
Don't want new coaches. Don't want new coaches. Thomas pouted. Emily headed back to the sheds when she was stopped by a signalman. Old Toby hasn't cleared the signal box. Please go see what's wrong. Oh dear. Looks like I've run out of water again. This always seems to happen at the most inopportune time.
Toby, what are you doing here?
Well, I've run out of water and I seem to be stuck on this crossing. Been good so far, but it'd be a shame if someone happened to be coming down this... Ah, there's Thomas. Oh my! I swear by my coal bunker, Toby!
Help me, I'm gonna die!
Emily charged towards Toby and pushed with all her might.
Oh no, I'll never stop!
She shoved Toby over the crossing. Just in time.
Oh no, this is it! Oh, never mind.
Phew, that was a close one now. Sir Topham Hatt was very pleased with Emily. Well done, Emily. I see you're making yourself quite useful on this railway already. It is now with great pleasure that I present to you these new coaches. I hope you and your driver find them more to your liking.
Thank you, sir. Oh, and Thomas, I'm really sorry I took Annie and Clarabelle. I didn't know they were yours.
That's all right, Emily. I shouldn't have been so cross earlier. Well, I reckon that settles that. Time to live happily ever after. Emily is very proud of her new coaches. And she loves living on the island of Sodor and working on Sir Topham Hatt's railway.
They're 2, they're 4, they're 6, they're 8, shunting trucks and hauling freight. Hey! 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 Red and green and brown and blue, they're the really useful crew. Down the hills and round the bends, Thomas and his friends.
Emily was enjoying life on the island of Sodor. She seemed to like every job Sir Topham Hatt gave her, but maybe that was just because she was in a new place. One day, Emily was in the yard with Edward and James. In the yard, there was an old set of buffers. The engines always tried to avoid it. Coming through, Emily! Emily saw that James was moving too fast towards the buffers.
James!
But it was too late. Oh, snap my piston! Emily, the yard is no place to play your silly whistle games.
I wasn't playing games. I tried to warn you.
Rubbish! You whistle all the time, whether you're passing an engine, or an empty station, or forest. That's kind of true.
I was trying to help you, James, not scare you off the rails.
Come on, you two, it was only an accident. But James and Emily were too cross to listen. They refused to speak to each other for the rest of the day. That night at the sheds, they were still fuming. Edward, tell Emily that I won't speak to her until she apologizes to me for startling me.
Oh? Well, you can tell James, Edward, that I won't apologize until he apologizes to me for accusing me of trying to startle him.
Edward, who was never given the chance to speak anyway, went to sleep instead. The next morning, Sir Topham Hatt came to see James. Donald has been delayed with his goods train at the far side of the island. I need you to help Douglas with the heavy goods today, James. Yes, sir. I could use some time out of this yard. Is he not going to complain that they aren't passengers?
Not talking to me still? Very mature, James.
I am very mature. I don't play silly games in the yard. Hello, Douglas. I've come to help you pull this train. Also, I hope that Sir Topham gets that signal box fixed soon. It hasn't exactly been the same since Donald bashed into it. Aye, the fat controller said you'd be coming. You might be finding some other help though, James. Me brake hose has failed and I won't be going anywhere today. Figures. Not to worry, I'm sure I can handle it myself. James coupled up to the train and heaved with all his might. At last, he got the train moving, albeit very, very slowly. By the time he reached Knapford, James was worn out. I'll never get this over Gordon's Hill on my own. Edward, can you please help me with this train? Douglas is broken down and it's too heavy. I wish I could, James, but I'm pulling my passenger train right now. Great.
Hello, Douglas.
Aye, lassie, you've got to find James straight away. He's off on a fool's errand.
What do you mean?
Alas, we were supposed to haul the heavy goods together, but me brake hose ain't working, and now he's gone without another engine. He'll never make it all the way to Vicarstown alone.
Well, he isn't talking to me right now, but I guess I can try.
Go get him. I believe in you. All right, you can do this.
Hey, do you need any help?
I think I can manage.
Okay.
Emily, wait. I know I've been very stupid. Look, I'm sorry for being rude to you. I could really use your help, actually. I can hardly move on my own.
Do I get to whistle whenever I want?
Sure, if that matters to you.
Deal.
So, you never said where you came from?
You never asked, silly.
Oh, sorry.
It's alright. I used to be a mainland engine, and then I worked on a smaller railway to keep out of the museum.
Museum? I didn't think an engine as fine as you would get put in a museum.
Well, they said I was too slow for the main line. The Sir Topham lets me on it here. I like that a lot. He saved me when my railway closed.
Yeah, he seems to do that quite a bit. Toby, Edward, Donald, and Douglas, he saved all of them.
Well, I'm very glad for that.
Finally, the journey was over. Thanks for helping me, Emily. That was a very nice run.
I'm glad I could help. We should do it again sometime.
Maybe.
Race back to the Timoth?
Sure, on my mark. Ready, set, go!
Wake up, lazy bones! Ugh, Henry, why do you insist on bothering me every time I'm taking my much-needed rest? My most sincere apologies. It isn't like you've been AWOL this entire series. Henry, I've already told you I had good reason. I was away. Yeah, whatever that means. I was being rebuilt. So was I, but that was years ago. I've been around, working hard as any engine, but since no one wishes to visit the main line, they never see me. But you're not at Knapford, or the sheds, ever. That's because I work, unlike some engines. Hey, listen here, Fat Boiler. I take the express now thanks to your lackluster performance. Excuse me? I could beat your best time any day in my sleep.
I resemble the
You need to
remarked
stop
square
creeping on
buzzers.
Annie and
I was here
Clarabelle.
first. I'm
This
taking back
station's
what's
not
rightfully
big
mine.
enough for the two
Is
of
that
us.
your best
Bet
comeback?
you still use that special...
What was that?
On the island of Sodor, there are lots of yards and junctions. This is where smaller engines like Thomas and Percy work. The big engines work on the main line. Engines like Gordon and Henry puff up and down with heavy goods and huge passenger trains. Gordon is the fastest, and Henry likes to say he has a good balance of strength and speed. The big engines think they are important, and so they like to tease the smaller engines. One day, Percy was working hard fetching coaches. "Hurry up, you! I can't wait all day." "I'm going as fast as I can. Hurry up yourself." "You can't say that, Percy. Only Thomas can say, 'Hurry up yourself.'" "Well, Thomas isn't here. He's working on his branch line. I'm in charge of this yard now." "In charge indeed. You have a lot to learn about shunting before you can be in charge, Percy." "Goodbye, little Percy. Look out for me this afternoon. Remember to fetch the clean coaches for my special train later, too." Ha! Anyone would think I was shed service. Percy huffed wearily back to the yard. "Hello, Percy. You look down." "Well, if I look up, all there's to see is boring blue sky." "Are the big engines giving you trouble?" "Lots. They think they're my boss, and Henry wants special coaches. He should fetch them himself if he wants to be so particular." "I know they can be irritating at times, but there are ways to make it fun. I know you'll figure it out." Percy went to fetch some coaches for Henry. He saw the coaches for the special train, and some old ones in the back of the yard. They had not been used in a long time. Then, Percy had a cheeky idea. "We'll see how Henry likes this." Percy shunted the old coaches to the platform. Henry huffed into view. He was running late. "We really need a turntable at Knapford." At last, Henry backed down on the coaches. He didn't even notice that they were old and musty. The people boarded the train. "Good luck, Henry." Henry was making up for lost time, but the passengers weren't happy. The seats were dusty and cracked. Some of the bogies squeaked, but there was worse to come. "A rat! A rat!" The passengers screamed. The guard went after the rat with his broom. "What is that noise?" Henry had to stop at the station. There was a huge commotion as the passengers reached the platform. The guard spoke to Henry's driver. "These can't be the right coaches. We ordered clean ones for the special train." "Percy!" Percy was shunting trucks once Sir Topham had arrived. "I want you to know that attention to detail is very important, Percy. Henry's train had important visitors on board, and those coaches were a sham. I expect you to be more attentive to these things in the future." "Yes, sir. Sorry, sir." "That said, I have now noticed that some of our coaches need better maintenance. I'll be seeing to it straight away." That night at the sheds, Gordon and Henry made fun of Percy, but only Edward knew Percy had done it on purpose. "If it weren't so improper, I'd be proud of you. At least now Sir Topham Hatt has promised us cleaner coaches all around. I'd say that I'm really useful then. In a way, yes. One day, a new engine was idling in the yard with some empty coal trucks. She had big wheels and was painted bright yellow. She looked very smart.
Hello, what's your name?
I'm Molly. Those are nice coaches you have.
Thank you. They were a gift from Sir Topham Hatt. Do you have your own coaches too?
No, I just arrived on the island. I'm supposed to deliver these trucks today.
Oh, well, nice to meet you, Molly. How did you get stuck with a goods train, Gordon?
Don't even ask, Emily. The indignity of this train is quite enough for my boiler pressure. Molly thought Emily had been laughing at her for only having trucks to take. Just then, Thomas arrived. Hello, you must be Molly. I'm Thomas.
Hello.
What's the matter?
Emily laughed at me because I had to take empty trucks to the coaling plant. I want to take full trucks like a really useful engine.
Empty trucks are just as important as full ones. But Thomas wanted to help Molly cheer up. Then he saw something that gave him an idea. We could cover your trucks with those tarps. Then no one will know they're empty.
That might work.
The workmen covered the trucks with the old tarps.
This is much better, Thomas. But I think something is missing. It has to be outstanding.
You're right. I'll see what I can find. Thomas went to deliver a train to Edward's station. He met Emily there. Thomas decided to talk up Molly's special.
That sounds exciting, Thomas. What is it?
Not telling, but she'll be passing through Abbey Station tonight. It wasn't long before news of Molly's special train had spread. Gordon was the only engine not impressed. I don't care what she's pulling. There's no way Molly's train is as important as the Express. Molly's special is far more important than the Express. But Thomas was a bit worried. How can I make Molly's train look more important than the Express? He wondered. Thomas puzzled all afternoon. As Thomas passed through a station, he saw a bunch of old lanterns on the platform. That's just what we need! Thomas's driver spoke to the station master. Station master says we can borrow his lanterns tonight. They're old and not needed. Molly, I've everything we need to make your train more special than ever. Molly's train was fitted with the glowing lanterns. It looked very special indeed.
Well done, Thomas. My train looks beautiful now.
The engines will be very impressed. They're waiting at Abbey Station.
I'm ready.
So Thomas buffered up to the back of Molly's train and they steamed off. Molly's train glistened in the night. Soon they arrived at Abbey Station. Some of the engines had stopped to see Molly's special train. Ooh!
She looks magnificent.
At last, Molly felt special. But not for long. A gust of wind blew one of the tarps away. Bust my buffers! Those trucks are empty! I knew it couldn't be more important than the Express. Molly felt silly,
I have to go.
and she raced away. Thomas felt very bad. Molly! There you are. Molly, I'm sorry I made you look silly.
It wasn't you, Thomas. It was me. I wanted to feel important so much that I covered up the truth. I shouldn't have brought you into that.
We still need to get the coal trucks to the coaling plant. The night runs will be starting soon.
But I'm nearly out of coal.
I can help you there. Then you can fill up on coal. So Thomas pushed and Molly pulled where she could. They were at the coaling plant in no time. The other engines were pleased their trucks had arrived.
Thank you, but we need even more trucks.
I'll fetch them.
Molly got some more coal. Then she and Thomas raced back to the yard. On the way back to the plant, the two engines were halted to let Gordon pass.
Make way for the express!
Empty trucks is not as important as the express. But maybe that's not the point. The point is being really useful.
That was well put, Molly. And Molly felt more special than special. Thomas is proud of his branch line. He boasts about it all the time to Toby and Percy. The two engines are becoming particularly annoyed. One day, Thomas puffed into the harbor. Hurry up, Percy. I need to shunt these as quickly as possible so I can fetch my coaches. There's no rush. You'll make up the time anyway. You always go too fast. That's because I'm constantly being delayed by slow engines like you. Toby's nice, but he is slow. I could run the quarry faster if it weren't for that old policeman. And Thomas puffed away. Later, Percy complained to Toby. I'm tired of hearing Thomas brag all day. He thinks he's the pride of the line. I agree. It's time we taught him a lesson and put a stop to his boasting. But how? Oh, I have a few tricks up my smoke box. Tricks? But Toby, tricks are cheeky. You're too old to be playing tricks. Says who? Edward says it isn't wise. Well, that's good advice, Percy. But there is a smart way to do it. Toby found some old cars in a siding. Ah, these will do the trick. Haha, puns. There we go. Are those for Thomas's train? Yes. Aren't those the old trucks? Yes. But their brakes don't release properly. Exactly. See, I know how to handle these trucks, but Thomas doesn't. The inspector's coming this afternoon. Thomas will be putting on quite the show. I'll be daft. Let's go. Thomas arrived to pick up his trucks. All ready. Now that's what I like to see. All the better for you, Thomas. Watch this lot, though. They are troublesome. Of course, Toby. I can handle trucks. Oh, we'll see. The inspector was nearby. Thomas was excited. I will show him how well I can boss these trucks around. Come on, come on.
but Thomas couldn't move. The truck's brakes were still on. Ugh, move, you! Oh, we can't! We won't! Then one of their brakes snapped. Whoa! Bust my boiler! Just then the inspector arrived. This yard is very tidy, but that engine knows nothing about pulling trucks. He needs to be more careful. Thomas was indignant. But Thomas didn't talk about his branch line anymore, not for a week. And Percy and Toby were happy for that. Donald and Douglas like to have fun, even if it's at the expense of another engine. Harvey was new to the island of Sodor. He was an unusual engine, fitted with a crane arm that he used to load and unload cars, although he also used it to rescue Percy from an old bridge, which would later be named for a scrupulous bus. Harvey and the twins were working at the depot. Donald was being cheeky. Hey Harvey, can you load that any slower please? Slower? Really? Pay him no mind, Harvey. Donny's been nothing but a fusspot is all. Oh, so I see. That do not mean you have to load them slower though. And why not? I can be cheeky too. He's handing me a taste of my own medicine now. Seems he deserved it. All in good fun. Soon, Donald's train was ready. Farewell then, lads. I'll be back soon enough. Don't be crying for me soon as I leave. Wouldn't cry for you in 2 years. Farewell, Donald. Harvey, seems you and me would do good playing a wee trick on Donald. Really? I'm no good at jokes, Douglas. Ah, but that's where my expertise comes in. You'll never have to think a thing. Just be doing as I tell ya. I'm not sure. I like to focus on my work most of the time. Ah, Harvey, you need to be having some fun once in your life. All right, I suppose this once. That's the spirit. Now here's what we're going to do. Donald returned in pretty short order. But when he tried to enter the yard, he couldn't. Back! What happened here? Dougie, you think you're a smart one, eh? Ah, Donald, I could not have set these up without help from my good friend, Harvey here. Haha, not to worry. I'll move them for you, Donald. Ah, I see you. And I see you, Harvey. Later, Douglas had to take some trucks to the junction. Harvey went to fetch some coal. Donald took his chance. When the engines returned, they were puzzled. Harvey, looks as though we've been played. But how? I'm a crane engine now too. The engines had a laugh. Guess we're even now. Well, now that we are, I have an idea. What in blue blazes? Great. Now they have an ally.
Rosie's a cheerful tank engine who works on Thomas's branch line. She came to help after Percy and Toby went to build the new harbor. Rosie likes Thomas very much, which annoyed him at first, but since Rosie saved Thomas from a mudslide, they are now good friends. One day, Thomas met Rosie at the junction. "Hello, Rosie. Sir Topham Hatt has given me a special job at the harbor. Can you please run my passenger train this afternoon?"
Of course, Thomas. I'd be glad to.
"Outstanding. It's a simple run up and down, and you may need to pick up cars on the way home. Thank you."
Okay, goodbye, Thomas.
Rosie was filled with excitement. This was her first time pulling passengers on the branch.
Oh, Rosie, where's Thomas?
He has another job to do. You're coming with me this afternoon.
Rosie chuffed to the platform and came to a very quick stop.
Oof, Rosie, have you pulled coaches before?
I've shunted them in the yards a lot.
Oh dear.
I'm sure it can't be that hard.
Not to worry, Rosie. I'll coach you, and then you'll be a pro in no time.
Did you say Coach, Clarabelle? Just then, the guard's whistle blew, and Rosie set off on her journey. Rosie puffed happily up the line. Clarabelle taught her how to puff smoothly on straight tracks.
Whoa! We need to work on those bends, Rosie. Try coasting next time.
Yes, Clarabelle.
Rosie had to stop at a signal. Bertie the bus was down below. "Hello there, you're not Thomas?"
No, I'm not. But I can whistle like him.
"So I see, but can you race like Thomas?"
You bet.
"We shall see. Catch me at Farquhar if you can."
Rosie, perhaps a race isn't the best thing to do on your first... Ooh!
But it was too late. Rosie didn't waste a second chasing after Bertie.
I can be fast like Thomas.
Rosie, the passengers!
"Rosie, slow down!" "Rosie, we can't be irresponsible. This train is for passengers."
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Rosie tugged at her train the whole way to Farquhar. Bertie was just about to leave when she arrived. "Bad luck, Rosie. Perhaps you'll do better next time. Goodbye."
I could have beat him.
"We'll be taking quarry cars back down this time. The train will be heavier." Rosie chuffed back with her train of full quarry cars and the coaches.
Cheer up, Rosie. Races are silly anyway. You're doing a great job for your first run.
But I have to be like Thomas.
Rosie saw that they were approaching a slope.
I will be faster. Come on, come on.
Rosie, this is much too fast.
Clarabelle tried to brake, but Rosie was determined.
I can do it. I will do it.
Then there was trouble. Bertie was crossing the track.
Bust my buffers.
Rosie braked as hard as she could. What the?
Phew.
Rosie, are you all right?
I am.
Ask the passengers.
No one was hurt, but the passengers were upset.
I think I messed up this time.
Yes, you did, Rosie. This is why we don't encourage racing.
It's not all the time.
I'll be more careful. I just wanted to be like Thomas.
Rosie, you don't have to be like Thomas. You're you. All you need to do is focus on being really useful in your own fun way.
Rosie set off again, this time being much less speedy. Finally, they reached the last station.
That was much better, Rosie. I think with a few more runs, you could be smoother than Thomas.
Rosie was pleased. Later, Thomas stopped by to thank Rosie. So, how did the run go?
It went very well, Thomas. Claro says I can make a fine passenger engine in time.
Really? She never tells me that.
Yeah, well, she told me. Anyways, you might want to be careful at the crossing tomorrow.
Alright then. Good night, Rosie.
Good night, Thomas.
Yes, the engines are sorry and they want you back. Well, sir, this is good news. I must ask, whatever did you do to send Diesel packing? Ha ha ha, that's a funny story, Duck, but perhaps another time. Oh, please, sir, please tell me. I promise not to make fun of your imposing size if you do. Well, I suppose we do have a minute. Diesel? As you have caused confusion and delay, you leave me no alternative but to send you back to the mainland. You must leave immediately. Sir, with all due respect, you can't just send me away. I'm revolutionary. Revolutionary does not mean really useful. Now off you go, Diesel. And what if I elect to stay? I thought you'd be difficult, but I came prepared this time. Percy! Coming, sir! Now, Diesel, this is a chocolate syrup tanker. I keep it in the back of the yard for occasions like this. Can you guess what's inside? Not chocolate syrup. Chocolate syrup, that's right! And not just chocolate syrup, Diesel. Sugar. Now I'm going to count to 10, and if you're not out of here by the time I say the word 10, Percy and I will personally dump this chocolate syrup into your tank and seize you up for good. Now we don't want that, do we? Oh, dear. That won't be necessary, sir. I'm on my way right now. That's not fast enough. Leave me alone! I'm out of here! Ha 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 ha! Good work, Percy. Oh dear, Percy, are you alright? This better have been worth it. Oh, surely it is, Percy. Provided that excruciating circumstances don't arise in the future requiring me to bring back this smelly Diesel who contributes nothing to the success of our railway. But that will never happen, will it? Oh, don't worry. I'll be back.
Edward had been struggling for quite some time. His parts were worn. He'd been mended again and again, but it was getting close to time for an overhaul. Edward was puffing down the line with his goods train. Suddenly, there was trouble. Oh! Ouch! My coupling rods! That's done it. No fear, old boy. You've earned a trip to the works. I hope the railway can go on without me. I'm sure they will manage. Sir Topham Hatt came to see Edward. Take it easy, Edward. I've got another engine coming to do the extra work. Oh, sir, I'm not getting replaced, am I? No, indeed. But you will be in the works for a while. Besides, we need a new tank engine to help with the shunting as it is. The next day, the new tank engine arrived. Hello there, I am looking for Sir Topham Hatt. I hope you have better luck than me. Well, he's odd. Billy arrived at the yard to see the fat controller. Now, Billy, you will be shunting in the yards today. Percy here will show you around. Yes, sir. Percy tried to show Billy around the yard. And this is where the trucks to Marin go. Billy! Billy, you need to pay attention. We have these sorted a particular way. I've shunted my whole life, Percy. I know what to do. Fine then. Let's see how you do it yourself. At first, Billy was doing all right. But then things started to go wrong. Watch out, silly Billy! Thomas arrived just in time to see everything. Wow, he got you good, didn't he? Percy spluttered. Pluck, pluck! Who are you anyway? I'm Billy. Well, I'm Thomas. I run my own branch line, but I'm dropping off lots of stone today. Have fun with that then. I'm taking these trucks to the harbor. Goodbye, Billy. Billy was happy to have the yard to himself, although the foreman missed Edward and Percy very much. Later, the foreman spoke to Billy. You must take Edward's train to the junction. Yes, sir, right away. Billy was excited. He was finally going to get his own train. Thomas returned to the yard with more stone. He watched as Billy curiously shunted his train together. You're in a hurry? I get to pull a train. Ah, yes, I remember when I got to pull my first real train. Don't get too ahead of yourself now, Billy. I know what to do, Thomas. At last, Billy was ready to go. You should take on coal and water before you go. It's more than a little ways to the junction. I know that, Thomas. Stop telling me what to do. Fine, have it your way. Stupid tank engine. Billy was happy to finally be left alone. He set off with his truck. How wonderful! No one can tell me what to do out here. But then there was trouble. Billy went slower and slower and came to a stop. Oh no, I'm out of steam. Well, that's what you get. Why didn't you tell me I was low? You wouldn't listen to me either. Thomas was still in the yard when the signalman arrived. You must rescue Billy. He's stranded on the main line. Bother Billy. I told him to fuel up before leaving. I wasn't so ignorant as he when I first got here. Billy was causing confusion. Gordon had to be routed to the middle line, and he was cross. Serves you right. Next time listen and you won't block the main line. How much longer? Finally, Thomas arrived. Wow, you weren't even halfway there. Look at you. I have so much more to say, but we must hurry. Can't have you blocking the main line and delaying the big engines. Thomas buffered up and took Billy to the next station. All the way he was sure to gloat, and Billy could do nothing but go along for the ride. Goodbye, Billy. I'm sure you'll take better care in the future. Billy said nothing, but that night he went home a much quieter and slightly wiser engine.
Hey, I have a question for you. How long have you even been here? No one even knows your name. I've been here for quite some time, actually. Really? How long? Well, I retired from the LNER in 1934. Or was it 33? I can't remember. And I've been here pretty much since then. So how is it that you've been here for years, but we're just now noticing you? Search me. Perhaps you weren't looking before. Likely story. What do you do? Aren't you going to ask me my name first? Fine. What's your name, engine? My name's Whiff. It's quite catchy. That's not the word I would use. Who would name an engine Whiff anyway? Well, it has something to do with my work here. Yeah? What do you do, now that you told me your name? I collect waste and rubbish from all over the island, and then I take it to my own special yard. Your garbage train. No, a rubbish train. I imagine that's smelly work. Oh, what is that smell? That's me. Really? How do you live like this every day? Oh, you get used to it after a while. Nuts to that. I'm out of here. Nice to meet you, Whiff, but I feel sorry for you, and anyone who has to work with you. I hope I never get stuck on the rubbish train.
They're 2, they're 4, they're 6, they're 8, shunting trucks and hauling freight. Hey! 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 Red and green and brown and blue, they're the really useful crew. Down the hills and round the bends, Thomas and his friends.
Gordon is a big, proud engine. He loves to go fast, and he loves to boast to the other engines about how magnificent he is. His tender is his pride and joy, as it is for many tender engines. Duck is a considerably smaller engine who shunts in the yard at Knapford and Tidmouth. Most days he fetches Gordon's coaches, but Percy often does it as well. One day, Duck was going on about the Great Western Railway. The big engines were getting bored. I say, Duck, All you talk about is being Great Western. You'd think nothing ever happened in your life that was more important. I don't believe there has been anything more important. Well, you'd best talk less about it, Duck, and broaden your horizons. It'd be a shame for such an intelligent engine as yourself to waste so much effort on a single focus. I'm just proud of my heritage. As am I, but we needn't annoy the others with incessant boasting. Goodbye. Incessant boasting. He's one to talk. All Gordon's steam has gone to his funnel. He'll learn eventually. Meanwhile, Gordon was puffing proudly along. Poor Duck means well, but he has lots to learn. I shall be his mentor, and teach him how proper engines do things. I bring the sense of refinement to this railway as it is. Later at the sheds, Duck rolled in beside the bigger engines. Now, Duck, we engines like to discuss the bigger picture, our achievements at speed, the importance of rail travel, how we will improve ourselves, that sort of thing. I'm glad you find those things interesting, but it's been a long day. I'm going to sleep. Duck is a simple engine for sure. Indeed, he doesn't appreciate the finer things. Well, what does he know? The next day, Gordon puffed to the station. I tried to teach Duck, but he won't listen. Never mind him. Signalman says the gantry has been finicky. Best be careful. Puh! I never miss signals. Very well then. The signals were working, but they didn't match the switches. Gordon's signal turned down. Gordon set off, but the signalman saw the switch was wrong and turned it back to red. But Gordon didn't see. We're off! We're off! But then there was trouble. Gordon, look out! Oh dear! Bust my boiler! What confusion! Gordon had to go back. The signalman was cross. You need to pay attention! After being scolded, Gordon didn't speak for the rest of the journey. That evening, he and Duck were alone at the sheds. I should have listened to you earlier. That's all right. I thought about what you said, and I may have been a little excessive about being Great Western. Well, since we have an understanding, we shall help each other and settle our differences. Like an alliance? Why, yes, that's a good word for it.